you asked me, when you sent me an email, you said that there was an unsubstantiated
That's
rumor.
right.
And you're right.
You're right. Okay. There's no plans.
There are no plans. What it is along Marmion Way, it's a very, very preliminary plan. And it's in response to constituent concerns that our office has received. Personal observations of being out there physically driving on there, watching numerous bicyclists that do utilize it, but also pedestrians who walk along the trail, especially from where Monte Vista turns into to Marmion Way. Having done the gold mine construction, I'm very familiar with that area. Unfortunately, I felt very strongly I wanted to buy, many of you know there's a piece of property adjacent to the gold mine, not where you have the cliff, right? You have that cliff on one side, the other side you have this vacant land, and to the east that's right adjacent to the gold mine, and it drops down. And I really wanted to buy it back then. And the sad thing is we did not buy it because at that time it was owned by a family trust, and I learned that it probably sold for like $150,000 or $300,000. You know, and so what is it going to sell for now? But that's essential. I know that a lot of residents walk there, along there, and it would be a perfect opportunity because as you well know, there is no parking for the Southwest Museum Station. It's on Marmion Way, and it's only a short stretch. There's an opportunity. I'm looking for exploring the feasibility, so it's just very preliminary. And then you also have the opportunity for it to be a park, so a mixed use with parking that could be hidden more to go with the terrain of the topography of the land, which drops down. So that what you see from the street primarily will be green space. So that's, like I said, a very preliminary concept. But I know that residents walk. I've watched them walk. I walk their dogs. I've watched bicyclists go there. You can't do anything on the other side because you have a cliff that drops. And then folks have also, constituent complaints have come in about lighting, the lack of lighting along there. And we can't put lighting on that because we don't own the property, it's unimproved. Lighting on this side where we have the sheer drop is attached to utility poles. And so what are some of the conditions, ways we can look at this to, keep it as a green space that's visually and active because the community is already utilizing it and have that pathway, but have a multiple use. So that's what I said, it's only a very preliminary concept. Also, identification of funding sources is very key. So I'm talking to the Department of Transportation of our Special Parking Revenue Fund, how do we do that? Looking at what its eligibility is under our active transportation program funding in the future. So it's very preliminary. And looking at what the hazards are along Marmion Way. The other thing that we've gotten requests for is obviously speeding. I looked at, knowing the configuration of Marmion Way, you have a signal at Avenue 45 and a signal at Figueroa. And then we only have a stop sign at Museum Drive, and that's it. And so when we have bus stops, 2 bus stops, I believe one's at Avenue 43, and the other one is at Avenue 41 or 39, somewhere around.
Are you talking about dedicated bicycling?
No, I'm not, we didn't mention dedicated bicycling at all. I mentioned an acquisition of a parcel on the other side that would provide a mixed use. A bike path. And it could be, that's what I said, everything is very preliminary in concept, and a lot will come out of community discussions. If it becomes a priority, if the community identifies, but this has only come out of conceptual preliminary in response to issues of concern. So high speeds, we know bicyclists use it, we know the conflict, we know there's lighting issues, dark issues, security issues, so looking at it comprehensively. And it could be a trail, it could be a bike trail, it could be a cycle track, it could be just, DG. But, that's something that has not been fully developed at all because it was just a preliminary concept to explore. And that's all it is.
Okay.
Okay?
So, no plans, I want to make this really solid. No plans for alternate bicycle maybe acquiring land, maybe a bike path.
Preliminary concept.
What's your definition of a bike path?
I was told with the bike trail, with the bike path, and with the bike road. So,
Okay, California's class 1, class 2, class 3,
But-
class 2.
no, as I said, it's very preliminary and it's being determined by community input.
Okay, when will it be? When will it be?
As I said, it is not, you asked me was it an unconfirmed rumor? It's been unsubstantiated. It basically is just nothing but a preliminary concept. Very, very rough and exploratory.
What is the
The
concept?
concept is looking for ways to explore to respond to concerns and looking at the uses that the community is currently using. And we know that Marmion Way is used as a speedway. We know that Marmion Way is walked by pedestrians who just want to go out for a walk in the evening, during the day, with their dogs, on their own, with their children. And on one side you have a sheer drop, on the other side you have this dirt area that you're utilizing now, which isn't lit.
That's speculation. That's not an official study.
Correct. I made it very clear.
So
It's
you're
just,
just saying that
it's-
in response to us. It doesn't mean anything.
right, it does, I'm saying,
You're
it
not
was,
the actual facility.
I was asked to come to speak about that,
I
and
understand.
that was all I'm doing. And they said, is it a real deal, is it a plan, is it not? No, it's not. It's looking at what are the possibilities that we can explore and look into and bring it back to the community upon further investigation. But right now, looking at all the issues that have been brought to our attention by constituents as to safety particularly, public safety, looking up on the traffic incident surveys that are out there, what is out there. I know that we have accidents at Museum Drive, which is our only stop sign. It's an all-way stop, but that's where we have accidents, which is very interesting. And then I'm looking for more to document, because I have to be able to have substantiate support going after funding to make a project such as this competitive. So it's identifying potential sources of funds and exploring it. Because I'm not going to come to the community and say, hey, I have this concept for a project that we should go with, but not be able to fund it. So I also have to look and explore as to what are the possibilities of funding sources.
We have a project that's funded and ready to be implemented, and your office won't install it. So explain that one.
Population is very important for a cyclist when you ride, you know, and it's just tough. There are so many reasons that the Marmion Way idea is not right.
There is no, but it's just a rumor.
It's
She
just,
says it's unsubstantiated.
But
It's not-
So what she has said is that there is no alternative to having done it.
I mean, she's talking about
so if the community doesn't support the concept at all,
What concept
it
are
was
you
just,
talking about?
I just threw out a concept.
Right.
Okay,
so
that's
it's
all I
just
say,
conjecture.
it's just a concept,
Yeah, it has
and
nothing
it's
to do with
exploratory.
We
It's
should
not,
maybe,
it's not real.
let's table this on it. If it occurs.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
That's what it is.
Keep this some sort of.
And it's not, it's not going anywhere right now.
Charles has a good
Thank
concept.
you.
That's it. Charles has, I mean, there's a real concept. Charles
Okay.
has.
Anybody know how to raise their hand and be acknowledged in this group?
There's about 20 people that have come to comment.
Would you like, can I ask the comments by
You need to go there.
On the Marvin Way.
And on the Marmion Way and on items number first grade on agenda.
Sorry, I skipped the restriction.
There's a comment, public comment.
Yes.
Yes, it's just public comment.
Can you guys? Right.
Well, I'm going to sit over there. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, since the agendized items concern alternate bike paths and/or alternate shallows on those, I'd like to start out with